Hi, this is Eitan Shalom at the Body Mind Wellness Center, and I'm here with a new patient today who's agreed to be filmed, although just her voice, and her name is Elizabeth, and she's here for some menstrual cycle discomfort. And so I wanted to show what an initial consultation with a Chinese herbalist, acupuncturist involves, and what kind of information that we need to get in order to come up with our pattern of disharmony, which is tied to our diagnosis, which then leads us to the correct Chinese herbal prescription or formula, if you will, and also which acupuncture treatment to do, because there are lots of different patterns of disharmony that underlie, for example, premenstrual syndrome or menstrual cramps. Especially with menstrual pain, there are a lot of different possibilities that could be causing the pain. For example, somebody could have pain due to cold and weakness. Maybe they have anemia, but they don't have to have anemia. And that's going to look different than someone who has pain due to damp heat. Those are two very different patterns. And so the only way we can figure that out is to do the consultation. I mean, to some degree, we could figure that out just from feeling the pulse and looking at the tongue. But the thing is, if you're going to treat the whole person, and let me add one other factor then, if you're going to treat the whole person and somebody comes in either of those two patterns and they're a terrible insomniac, you can't treat them without addressing that sleep disorder as well. You may not start with a sleep disorder, or you might start with a sleep disorder. You might add herbs into the formula for the sleep disorder. You might adjust your acupuncture treatment to address the sleep disorder. So, Elizabeth, what is your age?
30 years old.
Oh, okay, 30. And you grew up in San Diego?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're used to warm weather. Okay, well, let's start at the beginning. Tell me about your menstrual cycle.
Okay, well, currently I'm slightly irregular,
Okay.
so I'll sometimes skip a month.
And you're not, excuse me, you're not on the pill.
I'm not on any
Well,
birth
obviously
control.
you're not on the pill. You're not, no birth control.
No
Okay.
birth control.
Oh, okay. And no chemical birth control.
No.
And so you can skip a month.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been going on for a long time?
It has. When I first started having my period, I was 11.
Okay.
And I had a period and then didn't have one the next month. Basically, I was irregular as soon as I started having it.
And have you been ever since?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I was when I was, in middle school, first developing into a woman. And actually, when I went into high school for a while, I lost some weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped having my period altogether for, I think it may have been even a year.
And can we mention your
very physically active?
Yes. So that's not uncommon to stop. You probably
Exactly.
had because even now you're thin, so you can't see her. She's healthy thin at this point. She's got musculature, but she's got a willowy body type. So you must have had very low body fat at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And funny, I didn't start having it again until I had a boyfriend in high school. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I had a boyfriend, I must have just been smelling him.
Yeah.
Just my chemicals were aroused, and I started having my
hormones.
Period.
Hormones. Absolutely. Okay.
And then I was regular. Well, I don't know if I was regular, but I was having my period. And then when we broke up, I lost it again. Let's
talk about the last year.
Okay.
So have you been consistently irregular in the last year or two?
So basically, I'm going to go back just a little bit because this is important. I was irregular, or I was irregular from middle school up into I was 23 when I got in a Mirena IUD. Mm-hmm. And when I had my IUD in, of course, I didn't have any periods at all. Mm-hmm. And I had it in for 2 years. When I got it taken out, my body went through hell.
How old were you? Now,
I got
when it's out?
So 25.
Oh, okay.
And reacclimating to not having it in was really terrible because I had, before that, I don't remember experiencing any noteworthy PMS. Mm-hmm. And after I had got that Mirena IUD out, I had horrible breast distension, noticeable mood swings, bloaty, crampy, what felt like a gas pain in my stomach prior to periods. Although it wouldn't help with, it wasn't actual gas, it just felt like that kind of.
Did that go away after about a year?
It certainly, and I got some hormonal acne. It certainly got better after a year, but I do feel that I've had more PMS ever since because of that. However, after I did get it taken out for a while, I did have regular periods. And I continued to have regular periods that I would say for, it's hard to say. I mean, it has not been uncommon for me to skip a month here or there or to have it delayed, but I was having them frequently enough. In the last year, it's been mostly regular, although I put on a bit of weight with COVID, lost weight again, and then my period stopped for a little while. But I did have one last month. So I think I skipped for 2 months and then had one last month.
And your body weight currently is like your medical doctor would consider it healthy. She doesn't bug you to gain weight or anything.
No, I am around 120 pounds. Technically, for somebody my height, anything under 121 is considered underweight.
You have to gain a pound.
Yeah, exactly. But the last time I weighed myself, I was 122.
Yeah.
So, fluctuating.
Yeah.
But I would consider myself a healthy.
We'll have ice cream afterwards.
and that'll be it.
Yeah.
I would consider myself a healthy weight.
Okay. All right, good. And your doctor would as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they don't bug you about it. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, you don't look unhealthfully thin to me.
Yeah.
And I see your musculature. Okay. So now your periods are relatively regular, but you can easily skip a month.
Or 2 months.
Okay. And it's not necessarily from losing weight, maybe stress? Any pattern? Emotional stuff with a boyfriend or anything like that? Not that important.
That's a good question. I haven't noticed it correlating with stress.
Okay.
I do seem to notice it correlating with me being attracted, dating somebody I'm really attracted to.
Okay.
So that does seem to.
Well, the brain controls the hormones.
Yeah, that does seem to get things.
Okay.
I remember actually, and this is it's an aside, but it's very relevant. I had a roommate when I was in my early 20s who was a man who I had a big crush on, and
he was your roommate.
Housemate. Yeah, we lived in a house together, and oh my gosh, I mean, I could just feel my hormones just like I've never.
We are animals.
Yeah, so aware of it in my life, and I was super regular then.
Yeah, we're mammals. So okay, the key point. So far, the key point is that you are a person who can skip a month or two quite easily. It's not hard for you to do that, as opposed to the woman who's been clockwork her every 30 days her whole life.
Right.
And do they tend to, when they do come 3 months in a row, do they tend to be roughly the same time apart? 28 to 31, something like that? Do they come early?
Sometimes
do they come late?
It's really when they happen frequently. I would say 28 days is probably ballpark, but it's not to the T.
Yeah. Okay. No, it doesn't have to be, but just roughly speaking.
Roughly speaking.
Okay. All right. And so now let's talk about, like, let's say the last 3 months. The week before your period, do you have any discomfort? Swollen, tender breasts, bloat? Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Week to 10 days, and it could be 2 weeks, whatever, you tell me.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the positive about having PMS when you have irregular periods is it's not like I'm ever caught off guard. I know when it's coming because I do get, it's better than it was. It was horrible right after the Mirena was out, but I do still get tender, swollen breasts.
Okay. Very, very tender, like if somebody bumped into you by mistake, it would really hurt a lot?
At their worst, although sometimes that hasn't been happening as much frequently, thank goodness, because there was a period in there a couple of years back where like the shower water hurt. And
Let's stick to like the last 3 years.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the last 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we could stay focused
Okay.
on the recent past.
So, but it hasn't been that bad. It's just
Okay.
more of I could just feel that they're bigger.
Yeah, okay.
But the pain has been not as bad.
Okay, but they are tender though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And any bloating?
Yes.
Okay. Any constipation?
No.
Any acne?
No.
And I'll add for the audience, she has flawless skin. Okay. And then mood. Do you get irritable? Do you cry at things you wouldn't normally cry at?
I do. Yes, I do get a little bit more irritable.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a bit more morose.
Morose. Okay, so it's more sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just and just sort of
Hopeless.
yes.
That's what you meant by morose. Yeah. That's in the family of sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it has a little bit of a stronger feel than the woman who watches a sad movie and cries, or some women just get quite weepy. But you have more of a thought process going on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
like
I make the distinction because I am someone who cries somewhat with some. I mean, not. I'm not a huge crier, but I love to be moved emotionally. So I actually don't equate crying with like a negative necessarily.
Good for you.
So
yeah, you should,
so I would consider like crying after watching like a movie that stirs me emotionally.
Or during the movie.
Or during is a good thing to me.
When Katie Rowan dies.
Yes, but feeling morose is more of just like a general mood that clouds everything.
Sure. I understand. Okay. And about the irritability, not to the point where you could snap easily. Like if you were in a relationship, just really lose it and get pissed off and tell the person off.
I don't tend to get angry very easily.
Yeah. That's not your nature.
No, it's not my nature. Yeah. It would have to be something really bad for me to get really angry.
Okay. All right. And then once the bleeding begins, does it tend to start, like someone will say it's like somebody turned on a faucet, or is it a slow like spotting leading to a full day of bleeding?
It is pretty much like a faucet the first day.
All right. And light, medium, or heavy on day one?
I would say medium to heavy.
Okay. How many, just as an attempt to objectify, the quantify, I said objectify, I meant quantify. How many pads or tampons might you use on day one?
I would say 4 tampons.
Okay. All right. So medium to heavy. And then what about day 2?
Probably the same.
Okay. And then day 3?
And then day 3, it typically starts to lessen.
Okay. And day 4?
Sometimes what it'll do is lessen and then come back a little bit.
Okay, that's significant. Okay.
So maybe day 4, not every single time, but sometimes. I'm not surprised when that happens.
Okay.
Fortunately, though, they don't last really much longer than 5 days.
Okay. All right. And any discomfort of any kind with the bleeding, cramps of some sort?
It does seem to. I don't know.
You
whether
said like gas. It feels like gas.
Yeah, I sometimes get. It feels like gas pain, and it feels like.
But just to clarify, it's not gas pain. You don't pass gas and feel better. It's just you're describing it's sort of having that sort of sensation.
Yeah, where it almost feels like a hollowness in my stomach. And sometimes
when you say stomach, do you mean your uterus or do you mean your stomach?
I suppose. Well.
Now, women can get like actually get gas in the intestines that doesn't move.
Yeah, because it's hard to say whether it's because the thing is, I do feel it as like it feels like it's messing with my digestion.
Okay, well that could well be.
It might actually be my stomach.
Yeah. Okay. And when just to clarify, Americans tend to confuse the stomach and the intestines, and we tend to use the word stomach for the intestines and the stomach. But if I could stand up, like here's my belly button. My stomach is above my belly button, generally speaking, and my intestines come across there where the belly button is, and then of course lower as well. So do you really mean your stomach or do you mean your intestines? You know, like I was belching before because
Right.
something I ate. That's my stomach. You with me?
Yeah, I can't give you a definitive
That's okay.
answer, but I
Not
do
important.
actually think it's usually higher up, so I do think
Okay.
it probably
Oh,
is
all right.
actually my
Okay.
stomach.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. Well, I mean, your menstrual cycle can definitely affect your digestion, 100%.
Yeah.
Any diarrhea with the bleeding?
So that's the other thing, and that's partly why I think it is like a digestive thing. Sometimes, typically the first day of my period, sometimes the second day, the stomach pain will also, it feels like it translates into looser stool.
Okay. All
So
right.
perhaps not full on
Yeah, not like
diarrhea.
if you have dysentery.
Exactly,
Okay.
but uncomfortable, and it'll feel too usually like I need to go more, and I'm not fully able to.
Oh, so the urge to go, but nothing comes out.
Yeah, or like it would just feel like it would. It seems like intuitively, I think it would feel better if I could go more.
But you don't really need to go.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. And just to clarify, under normal circumstances, you don't tend to constipation or diarrhea.
No.
Correct? Yeah. I mean, we'll get to that, but okay. I'm going to pause because I'm not supposed to let one movie or whatever you call these recording go too long. So we're at 16 minutes. I'm just going to stop it and then we'll do part two. We'll take a little tiny break.